outside, I look better than him. And I'm not saying that to be cocky. I've had actual situations where people have said, "You're cute, but Joseph's cuter." And I didn't do anything. It's me sitting there, but it's created tension. So when I heard
These
that,
people have no idea what the fuck's going on right now.
they don't. And at the end of the day, that's the beauty of it. You guys know. And at the end of the day, they may catch on or not. But the most important thing is I'm talking to my guys, the ones I love, and we're talking about a fun topic. And it's the truth. I get it. He ain't wrong, but it's like, yeah, you're gonna get roasted for this, bro. Because
you know what? This may actually be
wrong.
This may actually be we might have to continue this on the gauntlet as like a small like subtopic, but
No, you guys already know.
It's gonna be on the Sports Moron.
James Tatum, though, I don't have like five of his players claim as my person, my guy, my boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, Avante Maddox, Sidney Jones, and I would give Brandon Graham, because when I saw the interview when he was talking about his torn tricep, I was just like, like,
yo,
I sat
we
there
got
and
to,
called
we got to get with the show, man. We got to get on.
Go ahead. Okay.
We got to get on with the show, y'all. All right, y'all. Wyatt, Bacon, what's good,
James,
y'all?
You get it. Y'all
This is Kickoff Week 16. This is your boy Denzel Snipes.
I kind of wanted to find out who the other two players were, though.
The wild animal.
I know Hurts is one of them.
Is JJ Jenkins, and then we got.
And your star running back that you have right now is another one.
Well, there's you go. There's your two.
So it's Sidney Jones, Avante Maddox, Jalen Hurts, and
Saquon Barkley,
and Brandon Graham.
And Brandon Graham.
Well, there's the five. There's
with that said,
JJ's starting lineup. All right, let's get on to our first matchup. Thursday Night Football, Broncos and Chargers. Chargers 3-point favorite. The Chiefs have locked up the AFC West, obviously. So this will be for playoff spots, essentially. Broncos and Chargers both in the hunt. So let's look at the JJ first. Who you got out of Broncos Chargers? Do you like that line?
Go to James, because I just put something in my mouth and I'm eating it. Go ahead.
It's food, people. It's food.
Pause.
But go ahead, James.
Slow down. Slow down. Okay.
All right. With that being said, I don't like the line because I think the Broncos are straight up. They're going to win outright because they're the better team. I think Denver is going to be in the wild card spot. Chiefs going to win the division, obviously, but the Broncos are a good team. They got a good defense. Bo Nix is a good quarterback. Throwing the ball to Sutton and all those guys, he can make some plays, man. So I like the Broncos. I think they're going to win.
All right, JJ, go ahead.
I love this game, honestly. I love this game because you have two talented quarterbacks that are young, and you have two very great coaches who have a history with each other because they've battled each other throughout the NFC for many years. I'm going with the Chargers on this one. I like my brother. I think while they have had some adversity and stuff and things like that, I do think there's going to be a little bit more that they can bring to the table that's going to help them. I think that Sean Payton is a very tough and really gritty coach, but I do think my Harbaugh brother's a little gritty. I think he likes this matchup, and I think they both know they're in a playoff push. Needless to say, both of these teams have huge reason to be hopeful for the future. They do. But I'm going with the Chargers on this one, and I actually think they would win by 3 on the dot, so I would take that spread.
All right. Well, I would feel a little bit better about this game if Baker Mayfield didn't put an ass whooping on the Bolts in LA, 40-17. Not a good look when you're trying to stay alive in a playoff race. But also, I'm liking what the Broncos are doing. You know, solid defense all year. Bo Nix had a slowish to get it. Okay, he threw 3 picks last week, and they still won a game. Okay. But I'm going to take the Broncos in this one. I do like the line. I think it may come down to 2 or 3 points. But classic AFC West rivalry matchup. I think the Broncos get this one. But even with the loss, I don't think the Bolts are dead yet. So, see, I got Broncos. All right, next game. Saturday, Texans Chiefs. So initially, the Texans opened up as a 3-point favorite because it was unknown what was going on with Mahomes, and it's still unknown what was going on with Mahomes as well. But can we still win an Arrowhead? This was one of my predictions at the beginning of the season. I said we were going to go to Arrowhead and win somehow, some way. Um, you'd heard me say it. We needed to beat the Chiefs and Ravens and the Bills of the world in order to be, because we're kind of right there on our doorstep, right? This is a game that the Texans have won a division and they can go no higher than, even though 1 and 2 seeds not locked yet. I think it's safe to say that we're not catching them, okay? But the highest we can go is 3 seed, and hey, that's fine. We can get to the 3 seed. Of course, we would need the Ravens and the Steelers to start slipping up. That's another story.
Boy,
I'm going to take the Texans in this one. And this is one of those things where typically if you hold Mahomes to 20 or under, you should win that game. But the Chiefs have just been kind of squeaking out these wins. I'm going to take the Texans in this one. I'm going to say 27-21. It comes down to the last possession, but Texans get a stop. James, what do you got, man?
I don't know what the uncertainty of Patrick Mahomes. He was listed as a full participant in practice. So I think he is most likely is going to be the starting quarterback this game. But I still don't know the extent of the injury and the severeness of it. And probably won't know until we see the game this week. So if Mahomes is not mobile, I think that's going to create a huge problem because the Chiefs' offensive line is already struggling. And if Mahomes is not really able to move around and stuff and escape the pocket and, make throws, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be an issue, and he could possibly get injured worse. And if Carson Wentz has to come in, I don't feel the need that I should have to say it on the show, but I don't trust Wentz to do anything for the Chiefs or any other team. So I think the Chiefs are in trouble, and I think they're going to lose the game. So I'm going to pick the Texans. I think they're going to take advantage of a hobbled Mahomes, and that's it.
All right. JJ, who you got, man?
to be very frank, Patrick's already won games with being injured before. So honestly, all the talk about it for me is like, that don't mean nothing to me. Patrick's already at the point where you just be like, hurt or not, he's going to perform for me because I've seen it. So, and he's a full participant and he's a warrior. And he knows how to use his weapons, just like his coach knows how to help him mask some deficiencies that he may have with his injuries, because they have Kareem Hunt, who's been productive. They have Pacheco, who is back and productive.
Yep.
I like Houston, but I do think this is a matchup that they are going to lose because I think that Kansas City, I think everything that they have gone through this year, every single thing that they have gone through, Patrick Mahomes being injured, something they've already dealt with before, they're like, okay, let's do it. Everybody else can, make their own speculations and things like that, but we know where we are. And when we come out there and we win, we're going to have people say, dang, they can beat him even when he's injured and stuff. Because number one, they still have that defense. And that defense is very strong. And as much as I like what I've seen from Houston and CJ Stroud, there are times this year you can get him.
Yeah.
And your defensive line of Chris Jones can definitely get Houston Texans' offensive line. So I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs in this one. And I actually understand. I'm going to take them to cover that too, because I think that this is playoff time. It's time to get in gear. And I think Houston's still going to make the playoffs, but I think it's going to be a loss this time.
All right. And next game.
The next game is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers going to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens.
The awaited rematch. And now,
Should I start this one?
As you can see, Steelers
Steelers can clinch with a win.
Yep, they can clinch the division or well, not a playoff. No, a playoff berth. They clinch a playoff
They've
berth.
Now
already clinched.
this
They've already clinched the
now
berth. If
this
they win
one
this game, they clinch the division.
Oh, they clinch the division.
now
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, all right then. Yeah, Ravens 6-point favorites at home.
hold
JJ,
on,
kick it off.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, hold on. All
That's
right.
just the introduction.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. I got it. So you've got, in my opinion, the best rivalry in sports back in effect, full effect. There's difference sometimes. One team is getting a little healthier, and the other team is having questions about certain injuries. And these injuries have kind of changed the game, how their offense looks since then. And so you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers here we're talking about. George Pickens is kind of up and down. So is, with Najee Harris. And when George Pickens is out, their offense has kind of been come down. On the flip side, they're facing a Baltimore Ravens team who, in the last month, has allowed 10, 11 points less than their usual. They allowed 29 pass plays of 25 plus yards or more in the first 10 weeks. They've only allowed 3 in the last 5. They have one of the top 5 defenses in terms of yards, points, passing yards, defense, and rush yards defense in the last 5 weeks. So as one team has questions with the offense, you have another team who's getting their defense to get up to better. And ever since Ardarius Washington has inserted himself into the lineup, this defense has looked a lot better. So with that said, I kind of just get an introduction, but kind of start giving you a little synopsis of what I think I'm going with. I like the Baltimore Ravens. And the one thing I will say that I'm very curious about is that after the game against Philadelphia, Lamar's mom definitely gave it to him and told him, bro, play your game. You already established who you are. Now just run it. Against the Giants, I saw that. I want to know this game. If he does that, I really believe that we're going to win. And this is the funny thing that's going to open up a conversation, which I hope we'll talk on the Gauntlet in maybe weeks to come.
Mm-hmm.
He don't care about it. But if it's all said and done at the end of the season, we will have a Joel Embiid to Nikola Jokic MVP where Jokic is actually the better statistical season, but Allen, to appease fans, would get the MVP. Because statistically speaking, there is, honestly, it is Lamar Jackson. And if he
Mm-hmm.
continues to be what he gave against the Giants to come against this team right here and starts to ball out, I'm going to hate it, but I know it's going to come. He may win MVP because he has the best statistical season of a quarterback this year, hands down. But he's won it too much. But I think he's going to win this game, and I think he's going to give them 3 touchdowns passing, 1 touchdown rushing, and I think they're going because he's out to really prove when his mom says something, he do it. And I want to see how he handles Pittsburgh's defensive front, and I want to see how they handle him when he's going back to his 2019 ways with the fact that he's a better passer. So I'm going to turn it to you, Mr. James Tatum. Who do you got?
I think the Ravens are going to win. I did not really like what I saw the Pittsburgh Steelers doing against us last week. They looked
They're
a little.
dirty.
I mean,
They're dirty.
I know the Eagles are a great team, but Pittsburgh is obviously missing Pickens, but they're also making a lot of pivotal mistakes.
Oh, you saw about that. I was going to say
You saw what happened with Najee Harris on that play where they pitched the ball to him and he just drops the ball. These are not the plays that you make as a winning team. These are not the plays that you leave out there, have a good drive, and allow something like that to happen. They also had a lot of penalties. They really couldn't get anything going, and I just don't find myself being that impressed with this team. TJ Watt is amazing. He did exit the game with an ankle injury, negative X-rays on that ankle injury, so he seems to be fine. But if he's still injured, kind of like Mahomes, if he's not at 100%, they're gonna have problems with Lamar Jackson. They're gonna have problems chasing him around and stuff. And I like the fact that the Ravens are playing at home too. If the game was at Pittsburgh, it would be more of a push. Pittsburgh won the first game, but I think the Ravens will win this one.
All right. Yeah. Something tells me Lamar gets his revenge in this one, and I know it's something about last game where the Ravens scored 2 touchdowns and the Steelers kicked off field goals, and yet the Steelers won the game.
Hmm.
That's gonna itch at any team. I don't
You
care
know,
who you are. With that being said, I think Lamar
you
does get
know.
his revenge. And, go ahead.
No, that was me being rude. I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'll have one little thing to say afterwards.
Oh, okay. No, just real quick.
That was me. My
No,
bad.
I'll take the Ravens in this one. The Steelers are going to have to wait another week to find out if they or the Ravens are going to win the AFC North. Ravens stay alive in this one, and I like the line. Go ahead, JJ, and then we got to move to our next game.
Absolutely. Just say about the whole quarterback situation, and I actually love what I'm saying about this. He has 37 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, but when you look at the interceptions he's had, they're not his fault. So, arguably, if they actually went the other way, the man wouldn't have had 0 interceptions this year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm.
I don't think the interception against the Eagles was very good throw, but that's just my opinion.
He threw an
Next,
interception against y'all?
yeah.
Yeah, on the fourth down play.
Oh, I have to look
Mm.
back at that one.
Next game.
All right, Giants versus the Falcons, and Michael Penix Jr. taking the starting job from Kirk Cousins.
Yep. And when you struggle to put up points against the hapless Raiders, doesn't matter whether you won the game or not. Yeah, that's it. So even though the Falcons are still alive in the NFC South race, even though they're second to the Bucks, even though they swept the Bucks, um, they head coach Raheem Morris has decided to make the change and go on to the rookie Michael Penix Jr. when it was all but said at the beginning of the season that we wouldn't see him this season. So I'll swing it over to JT. Who you got in this game, and how do you think Michael Penix Jr. would do?
I think the Falcons are looking for a spark. This is something that you see a lot of teams do when the quarterback is struggling. They have a young guy that they drafted, and they just kind of put him in there. Kind of gives a lot of energy to the team. So, team that they're playing is pretty bad. So I think that also has something to do with it. So I will pick the Falcons. I think Penix is going to give a spark to Atlanta that's looking to do something. They're not dead. They are still alive for the division. Could very well win that because they have the tiebreakers over Tampa Bay because they beat them this year. So there's that. And also, if they win this game, they're also alive in the wild card too
Yeah.
because they'll only be a game behind. If the Eagles beat the Commanders, they'll only be a game behind the Commanders for the 7 seed. So at this point of the season, with a couple games left, anything can happen. Atlanta's looking for a spark. They're looking to do something to salvage the season. And wasn't too surprised to see Kirk's benching based on the way he's been playing, which I have spoken about a few times on our show.
All right. And JJ, who you got in this game?
I actually have the Atlanta Falcons too. I will say this: if you're going to do this move, just please give him the proper chance. If he struggles throughout whatever, just give him the chance. You are not going to do yourself any justice if you don't give this guy a chance. But quite frankly, he was my quarterback that I liked in the draft the most. I actually think he's going to really have a nice debut because I think the Giants are just waiting to end the season. At this point, it is a pretty good matchup to kind of come into because you know that team has nothing to gain and nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see what you got. You know, what better way for a rookie to come in than go against a team that's bad so he can try to see him working way up. Because at this point, you just want to see how he flows in the game. Does he recognize the blitzes? Does he that change protections? What type of throws he going to make? And you want to win the game, but this is a good evaluation game to just see where you guys are with him and how he handles his first game. So I think he's going to do pretty well.
All right. Yeah, I'll take the Falcons in this one. The Giants are just horrible. Um, Bacon Grizzly could throw 2 touchdowns against them. I mean, who are we kidding? You know, Michael Penix. If this game was against any other team, maybe it's a 50-50 as far as who's starting. But since it's the Giants, yeah, I understand the move. So yeah, I'll take the Falcons in this one, and I'll take them to cover. Next game, Lions 6.5 road faves at Bears. So the Lions, can they get a bounce back loss from last week's thriller to the Bills? JT, you got it, man. Who you got?
Grizzlies' response to you, he says, "Shit, give me the ball." um, I mean, I got the Lions. Every time I turn on the Chicago Bears, I just see the same thing over and over and over again. I see a team that is probably the most poorly coached team in the league. They don't look like a team that's fundamentally sound in any aspect of the game, always committing the same mistakes, always having penalties, turnovers in pivotal moments. Obviously, the last time they played Detroit, we know what happened. Not managing the clock, and Matt Eberflus gets fired the next day. So this Bears team is just pretty much a disaster. So I have no reason to even consider an upset. Despite the Lions are having a lot of injuries and it's a division game, I really don't think the Bears have any chance of pulling the upset.
Yeah. Swinging on the JJ. Bears are 0-8 since the Hail Mary. Who do you got?
I actually am going to take the Bears because I actually think while they're I always know that I think I look at rookies and stuff and how a situation is always with the glass half full approach because yeah, they're not going anywhere this season, but they were in that game. So, new coach, you know that you can play with them. I think if you want to see if you're growing, you may be in the same situation where you can make the right call as opposed to not making the wrong call. And I do believe that this team has something to be happy about because even though they're having a losing season, they know they have a quarterback they can build around because in his first year, he's shown you great parts of his game. He's shown you greatness, and he's shown you valleys. But at least compared to what you've had before, you have something to look forward to. I like Detroit. I really do like Detroit.
Mm.
I am one of the few who just I think that sometimes I think they're not as much of a threat as everyone makes it to be.
Mm.
I said this in my group chat at work today. I said, if the AFC faced Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl, I will take the AFC team every single time. If the AFC faces Philly in the Super Bowl, I don't know if every AFC team could beat that team. And I don't think because what I called this weeks ago on our show, when they faced a team like Buffalo, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, I don't think they win. What happened? What happened? And not only was they got it close, they were getting dismantled like I felt. So in this
Because
game,
Josh Allen.
bingo, put Lamar on that against that squad. Let's see what happens. Put Joe Burrow against that squad. Let's see what happens. So yeah, they're a great team. They are a good team, but they have never been the team I think is what everybody thinks they are. I think they're just happy because of Detroit. But I got Chicago in this game because I think they're going to come into the. I think they're going to. This is their roadblock. I got Chicago.
Huh?
Also losing David Montgomery for the season is going to be a pivotal loss for their team.
Yeah, absolutely. What I do know, and I know we kind of reacted when JJ said he picked the Bears, but we'll say this much to the Eagles fans out there that if the Bears do get a dub and the Eagles handle business, guess who's number one in the NFC? But for the time being, my safe bet is the Lions. The Bears are just
Minnesota is
terrible.
also right there.
And
So
Minnesota's
It
right there
very well.
also.
It
if
very
they
well
if
could be.
they
It
lose
very,
if they lose this game, the Lions are going to be in trouble because Minnesota will now hold the keys.
I think they
Hold the
are
keys
in
to
trouble. I think they're in trouble. They have won games, but they have not really played like a dominant team.
Well, well. In this one, I'll get the safe bet, and I'll take the Lions in this one. Yeah, they lost to Montgomery, and then they have a ton of other injuries as well, and yet somehow they're winning and staying in ball games. But it should not take that much to beat a totally inept Bears team. So I'm going to take the Lions for damn sure to cover. Next game. Oh, the Buckeye State Series. Browns Bengals. Bengals are 7.5-point home faves. The Bengals ain't dead yet. What do you see, JT?
I'm seeing some big problems for the Cincinnati Bengals. I did not like what I saw last week. Joe Burrow was seen with head coach Zach Taylor on the sideline, basically saying something along the lines of like, "This is an effing disgrace," and it's obviously been a frustrating season for them, and I just don't think this team is really playing so much together. Jamar's been phenomenal, Joe's phenomenal, but as a team, it just hasn't been clicking for them, and I think that they're kind of getting to their breaking point. So I think it's going to be a long off season for them, and decisions are going to be made. New head coach is most likely going to be something I think they are going to consider. And I think Cleveland wins this one.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know who the hell's gonna start at quarterback, but he says Browns win. JJ, who you got?
So it's funny about Cincinnati. It's funny we're talking about these teams because we were talking about it today. Cincinnati is a product of what fans aren't trying to take accountability for. Is they don't have a defense, so it's frustrating for Joe Burrow and all them. However, all this last 4 or 5 years, everyone's just talking about make sure you pay Burrow, make sure you pay Chase, make sure you pay Higgins, make sure you do this. When you don't have money to balance out your team, you have these fortunate situations. That's why the better teams and the teams that really compete year in, year out, you have to balance it out. And at the end of the day, when you come into the offseason that James mentioned, you might have to make a decision and get rid of a guy that might be elite. You might have to sell to Jamar Chase, like, boom, you are great, but we want to win too, and we want you on the team. But if we win, we may not be able to do this to help us win because we're giving this to you. It's like Tyreek Hill over here. So, like, and my whole point is, fans wanted the people to pay the offense, and now they're mad because they have no defense, but they don't have no money to pay for the defense because you fans want them to pay the offense. If you are a great franchise quarterback, I don't care who you are, you can stomach losing a top tier talent. Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill, ain't stopped him. Lamar had no talent, and he has talent now, ain't stopped him. Josh Allen didn't have talent and has talent, ain't stopped him.
And lost
Jamar,
dead.
we haven't seen Tom Brady made his whole career without having talent. So now, when you have Jamar Chase on the squad and you have Joe Burrow, I'm looking now, people. If I'm going to be petty and be like, he's that good of a quarterback, let's see him lose a weapon and have somebody else, and let's see him be that guy. Because I've seen other guys without weapons and still doing the dang thing. I haven't seen you without weapons. And if you want to have a good team, you may have to lose one weapon and pull out another one to get the defense. With all that said, I'm taking them in this game because I don't think Cleveland's going to be a good team enough, and I think Jameis is going to give them a chance to get opportunities to get the ball back. It's going to be one of those high-scoring games, but I think it's going to be Cincinnati on top. But I will say this. Y'all got some decisions to make, and I want to know how you're going to make them because at the end of the day, if
Well,
he's the guy that you think he is, and you want that wide receiver to be there, you need to figure out how to go and draft that defense. Because if you ain't got no money to pay that defense, you have to pay that defense. You have to draft that defense. That's why I love my GM, and that's why I love Kansas City's GM. They make deals for people that are team friendly for now and the future. You don't put all your money in one basket for the first 3 or 4 years like they did with Chase and Joe Burrow. Play your game. They have everything, but they buy into what fans want. Fans are the reason why they're in this situation because fans and them are in this situation, and now you got to live with it.
they haven't paid T or Jamar.
Right, and T wants to stay. But if you want to pay Jamar all this top dollars that fans are calling, he played his year on a rookie with on no contract extension, and he's about to get the triple crown. You have a decision to make, and you are going to be sweating this out because if you have fans telling him
Should have
get your
paid him before the
money,
season.
you have fans telling him get your money. they may not be able to pay him what he's going to be getting, and then he's going to walk. But then I go back to y'all. He's an elite quarterback. You said Joe Burrow's this, and this. Let's see him work without Jamar Chase because he hasn't had to work without Jamar Chase.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I believe in him, but I want people who's glorifying him to think about that. I definitely think he can do it, but I want people to remember that. Think about that.
Jay, who you got?
Yeah, we kind of got to speed this up, guys. But
My bad.
no, I'll take the Bengals in this one. Actually, it is Dorian Thompson-Robinson who's going to be starting for the Browns, but the Browns are just in shambles. It is what it is. Bengals, I've got them to win and keep their playoff hopes alive. I don't expect them to make the postseason per se, but at least they can get a win and figure out what to do next week. Bengals, and they cover. Next game. Titans, Colts. Okay, won't be too long on this one. Will Levis is benched. Colts are a 3.5-point favorite. They aren't dead just yet. JT, who do you see, man?
I like Indianapolis to win this game. Jonathan Taylor last week, that was just completely stupid by him. I don't know what came across his mind, but just a devastating play in that game, which was an important game for them. So they're going to need a lot of help to even, have a chance at this point. But I think they start by winning this game.
All right, and JJ, who you got? Titans, Colts.
I want to know what happened last week when James. What were you just talking
So
about?
he broke a long touchdown run and he dropped the ball before he crossed, and then it rolled out for a touchback.
I honestly think he thought he crossed and dropped it, but he didn't. I actually looked because when I looked at it, I was like, he literally. I actually think he did cross before he dropped it, but that's just me. But I honestly didn't think he was trying to be showboating. I just think he thought, all right, I'm across, I'm done. With that said, I'm going to take them in this game because I think Tennessee they're not there. I just don't think they're there. They have promise because as much as Will's been up and down, he's had good moments. But
Yep.
I have Indianapolis. I will say another thing. These two quarterbacks actually do have talent. You just have to do what I always say, give them grace. And I think if you give them grace, they have a chance to develop. They see what's happening with like the Bo Nixes and the Jalen Hurtses and Lamar Jacksons and the Josh Allens. They want that same thing. But I got Anthony Richardson this one because I think Anthony Richardson just needs to work on his accuracy. Once he works on his accuracy and his ability to kind of like have pocket awareness, give him time, he'll be okay.
Wyatt's comment on the screen, he's 100% correct because that blunder happened in the third quarter, and if JT legitimately scores, Jonathan Taylor, it's 20-7 Colts in the third quarter. Well, that literally was a game-changing play because since that time period, the Broncos forced 3 turnovers, scored 24 unanswered points, and the Colts couldn't recover. They never scored again. But as far as this game goes, I think the Colts get a bounce-back win. They need the win to stay alive in the AFC wildcard race. If they're going to steal one, they still need a lot of help. Titans, I would like to think Mason Rudolph is coming in at quarterback, but the Titans are bad too. But yeah, go ahead and give me the Colts. But you know what? Seemingly, the Titans and the Colts, they can put on some dramatic games here and there. This will be one of them. So I got the Colts, but not to cover. Next game.
That game used to have high stakes with Steve McNair and Wade Manning.
Los Angeles Rams against the New York Jets.
We got another road fave. Rams are 3-point favorites at Jets. Woo.
Rams are playing some good football.
Mm-hmm.
James, who you got, man?
Rams did not look particularly great against the Red Cowboys, but they got the job done. And now they're sitting, after Seattle lost, they pretty much control their destiny from now on. If they win the rest of their games, they're going to win the NFC West, and they're going to host a home playoff game. I like the way this team is playing, and I think they win.
JJ, who you got? Do you like that line?
I can't see. I think this is going to be a competitive game.
3 points for the Rams.
I think it's a competitive game. I won't take that line because I do think the Jets are going to come to play. But I like the Rams. I like their toughness. I love the fact that they still believe in a running back and using Kyron Williams. And Matthew Stafford knows how to figure it out. I do think Aaron Rodgers, is just ready for the season to end. And I think that that's going to be enough for the Rams. I think the Rams are a really interesting team. I think they're a team that could be like, get to a playoffs, win a home playoff game against a, wild card team they probably should have, they think they want to lose to. But I think they got this game. I take the Jets to cover.
All right. Yeah, I'll take the Rams in this one. Rams still need to. Well, with the Seahawks loss, they now lead the NFC West by half a game, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the Rams keep it going, especially since the Seahawks have a particularly tough finish. We'll get to them in just a little bit. And the Jets are just the Jets. There's a reason why the acronym stands for just in the season. So I'll take the Rams. The Rams cover. Next game, please. Here we go. Eagles 3.5 road faves at there's a lot of road faves this particular week, but at Commanders need to keep their hopes alive, and the Eagles have just been the Eagles. One of the best teams in the NFL. You know what? I'll let JT tell you about it. Go ahead. I know who you got.
Franchise record, 10 straight wins for the Philadelphia Eagles after beating Pittsburgh. When you look at the way this team plays, they feed off each other. They play complementary ball. We heard all the noise last week about, oh my gosh, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, they're beefing. They don't like each other. And all these things, all this drama around the team. And you saw Jalen Hurts was surgical against that Pittsburgh defense, moving down the field, making plays. So when this team operates at a high level in the passing game with this offensive line, this running game, this defense, it's just pretty hard to beat us. And I think the Eagles are going to go down. They know what's at stake. They know the season's not over yet. We still got a chance to clinch the number 1 seed. If they win this week, they clinch the division and the number 2 seed. And then they're going to need the Lions and Vikings to slip up a little bit so they can secure that at the end of the season. So I think the Eagles will handle their business, and then hopefully other things work out in our favor.
All right.
Boy, 6 weeks ago, y'all was on Sirianni, and I ain't heard a peep say that.
Sirianni,
hey, man, things change.
Sirianni deserves credit for turning the team around.
Absolutely.
I know he was criticized a lot, but he has learned from mistakes. I really feel that way, and the team responds with him. They respond with him, they respect him, and they really support him as a coach. So I think he deserves some credit.
How old is Sirianni?
He should be in his late 30s, early 40s, something like that. But,
I think we're seeing a wave. I think we're seeing a wave of the younger guys in the late 30s to early 40s really connecting with these guys and making good coaches.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, he should be coach of the year contender, because there was media outlets that was talking about, oh, he lost the locker room, he on the hot seat, and now look at him. If they win, they clinch at least the 2 seed and still got a shot at number 1. But JJ, who you got? And do you like that line?
Oh,
put it back up.
It's 2.5.
3.5.
3.5.
Oh, 3.5. Oh, yeah, I do. Because I remember what I had seen from Jaden Daniels against that Philadelphia defense, and nothing has changed from that defense from then to now. And so I do think that defensive line is back to being the strongest unit in football, and I think that's going to make Jaden Daniels kind of look like a rookie again, because he really hasn't faced that too much, but he will today. And I do think that Philadelphia is going to win this, and I think that it's going to be off the back of the legs of Saquon Barkley, just because they have a matchup where they can exploit. They can exploit anything with Washington, but the fun thing you could do with Saquon is exploit them with the run game. So I think they're going to win this game. And I think that at the end of the day, Philly knows what they can do. Philly knows they know the potential of where they can go. This can feel like a Philadelphia year, but we'll see.
All right. And yeah, I'll take the Eagles in this one. Commanders won't be dead after this loss, but the Eagles, they're they're they have their sights on the number one seed. They want their first round bye. Uh,
Yeah,
Winning the division, of course, is cool, but they want that number one seed. They want the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC to run through Philadelphia, and ultimately, that's what it's all about.
that's because they want to
Defensive, every,
obnoxious fans.
every defensive category, they're in the top five. I mean, it's the defense that's been coming through. Saquon's been Saquon, and you talk about we earlier in the program. A lot of you heard JJ's non-football commentary on Jalen Hurts, but we're talking about a quarterback who was averaging 200 passing yards per game, and he throws for 290 last game just to make a statement. Yeah, give me the Eagles in this one, and I got them to cover. I'm going to say Eagles by 10 points. Actually, I can see them winning 30-20. Next game.
Next game is the Cardinals taking on the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, okay. We ain't gonna be too long on this one. Another road fave. Cardinals. They're giving the Panthers. You know what, man? I think Vegas clause is being a little generous this holiday season, giving the Panthers 4.5. We'll start with JJ on this one. You like that line, brother?
I like it for Carolina. I actually like what Carolina's doing, even though they're not winning games. They're competitive. They're starting to figure things out, just like little things that were working and stuff. This is a perfect game for them to try to come out on top. I think Arizona is, unfortunately, I thought they were going to put it together a little bit more, but they haven't. And I think this is a good winnable game for Carolina. I think their people, their fans, and their team is starting to be like, you know what? Bryce ain't bad. We have something here, and I think they're going to win this game. I got them on this one.
Okay, JT, who you got? Cardinals or Panthers?
I got the Cardinals winning this game. The Panthers have had some good moments in the last few weeks, but you kind of saw against the Cowboys, team is kind of getting flat, looking more like the Panthers of early in the season, and that's it. And the Cardinals, I think, it's got more talent, better coached, and that's it. I got the Cardinals winning.
Yeah, the Cardinals need to stay alive in the
coach
NFC West race. I'm not gonna say it's the Rams division to lose just yet, just because that division has just been that kind of division this year. Now I know that I don't see the 49ers coming back and winning their division. I think it's going to be Cardinals somehow, Seahawks or the Rams. But Cards stay alive. Give me the Cards by a touchdown. Bryce Young keeps it close, keeps it interesting, but ultimately I got Kyler Murray and company. Next game.
All right, our next game, we have the Minnesota Vikings going to Seattle versus Seahawks. Big game in the NFC.
Another road fave. They're giving Seattle 3 at home, which is crazy. But yeah, this is a dangerous game, like it says down on the bottom.
They're giving Minnesota 3.
Yeah, my bad. They're giving Minnesota 3. Yeah, yeah, this one here is pretty interesting. Do not like what the Seahawks had last week facing the Packers, and now you're facing essentially a tougher team in the same venue. JT, what do you see in this game, man?
I think it was just kind of a stinker game for Seattle. I think this game they're going to bring it. They're going to play better. And I think Seattle goes and protects their house and gets a win.
All right. And JJ, who you got?
I have the same as James. I think that Minnesota's really weird. I'm not saying they're just weird, and I think that this helps Philadelphia because I think they're going to take a loss here, and then they can kind of be pushed behind them. Still a good team. I just think that this is a funny game for them.
You like the line?
I like the line. I'm going for the cover of I
Seattle.
mean, the cover for the Seahawks. Heck yeah.
Seattle to win
Okay.
outright.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Whew, yeah, I'll take the Vikings just because I just didn't like what I saw out of the Seahawks last game. Now anything could happen, and the Hawks do need to stay alive. This game right here is going to be the defining moment, the defining game of have the Seahawks run out of gas or not. You know, they lose this game, they might just lose out.
Mm-hmm.
If they can stun the Vikings, they'll stay alive. But for safekeeping, give me the Vikings. I'm not ruling out a Seattle win. I'm just looking at Vikings. They're 12-2. They're looking at the number one seed in the NFC also. So they for damn sure got something to play for. But I mean, the Seahawks do also. But I'll take the Vikings in this one, and I'll take them to cover. Next game. Do we need to talk about this shit?
I think we do. I mean, but let's be real. The Bills are going to win. The Bills are going to keep rolling. Josh Allen going for the MVP. He's balling right now. Give me the Bills.
This is a fun.
JJ?
This is a fun game because I like Drake May. I wish Kendall was on here because I know this is a team they probably gonna lose this game, but I think this is gonna be a more fun game that people are probably anticipating. And I'll tell you this much: if I look at this game on Saturday and I see everybody on Buffalo to cover, I'm really liking the Patriots to cover because when that happens, like it just like happened with the last time I seen something like this was Packers and Jaguars, and everybody thought that Packers would wipe them out the floor, and they didn't.
I'm sorry, Bacon's comment. Go ahead, JJ.
That'd be funny if it's Bill, but trust me, I do think they're going to Vegas will collect, and I think Vegas is going to have everybody take that 14 point, and I'll pay attention if it turns into 15 or something like that. Oh yeah, because I think it's going to be a fun game. It's a division game, but I've
Speaking
got
of
the
Vegas, I don't know if you guys saw, but the rushing yards on David Montgomery was 775 and a
And
half,
a half.
and he ended with 775.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that was some. I saw a TikTok behind that. This dude was losing his mind. Like, man, the cow, he was coming up with all kinds of shit. The call came in, and all this other kind of stuff, man. It was tripped out. But
That's terrible,
on
man.
this one, the interesting thing about that line is when we've seemingly seen a double-digit line this season. I think back to the Chiefs at Panthers, for example. We look at the double-digit line, and it's like a close game, right? I don't think the Bills are going to let the Pats hang around. The Bills have their sights set on the number one seed also. They still need a little bit of help, but I got the Bills, and I got them to cover. It's going to look like they won't cover for a little bit, but I'll take the Bills to cover. Next game. Yeah, so hold on. Let me double check something real quick. Okay, correction. Because when I did the thread, there was no line. Now it's Vegas by 1.5. Jags, Raiders by 1.5. Who you got, JT?
Man, this is kind of a toss-up game. Two bad teams. Raiders are playing at home. I'll give it to the Raiders.
All right. JT, who you got? Oh, not JT, JJ, who you got?
you know I don't really know. Because like I'm a because this is McCorkle Jones as Don likes to say, and
Yeah,
who's playing quarterback? Is it Aiden O'Connell?
Desmond Ritter.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. I like this one. This is like okay, cool. I'm gonna flip a coin, and I'm gonna just pick on whoever. I'm gonna flip the fork. The fork. This side is gonna be the Jags, and this side is gonna be the dang Vegas. Oh, Jags. There we go.
You know what? Whatever you pick, JJ, that's what I'm rolling with. Just give me the Jags just because JJ picked them. Next game. I don't got too much to say about this game. That's why. Okay, here we go. Um, the 49ers at the Dolphins. Dolphins are a 1.5 point home faves. So, question of the day: can they get a bounce back win following last week's loss at Houston? JT, who do you got? Well, I got a feeling who you have, but why did you pick the other? Why'd you pick them?
Well, I might actually surprise you this time. As much as I've given the Red Cowboys a lot of hate,
He's gonna piss off John Shear.
I actually think that they're going to win this game. I think that because of what happened with Devondre Campbell, the team is very, very pissed off about that, and they don't really have much to cling on to anymore for the season, except for a little bit of pride. And I think when things like what happens, it does give some kind of a energy to the squad. So I think that the 49ers are actually going to win this game.
All right. JJ, and by the way, update, I just saw it across the ticker on my television screen. The half point is taken away. Now it's Dolphins by 1 point. Do you like that line, and who do you got?
I actually got the 49ers in this one because, to be honest with you, Mike McDaniel came from Kyle Shanahan. They run the same type of offense. So it's the same team against each other. Now you look at it as who has more talent. The Dolphins do have the more talented, more healthier players, but the toughness and the defense and the bully, the grit or whatever goes with San Francisco here. And I think that, I don't know how much people are investing into the whole Tyreek Hill, comments or whatever, but I do think that this is going to be one of those games like, hey, I know you. Hey, I know you too. And the next thing you know, it's like, hey, let's shoot force. And then he wins. And that's the one that was the older brother, and the little brother doesn't. So I got San Francisco on this one.
All right. Well, I actually will say that seemingly when Devondre Campbell walked off the field, that actually was the most united I'd seen the team all season long. When all of them came together and basically said he's a coward and said it without saying it, like in front of the meeting. They had no problem doing it too. That was the most united I'd ever seen that team. But I'm gonna
They
lone
were
wolf on,
right.
yeah. But I'm gonna lone wolf on this one and give me the Dolphins. The Dolphins still got something to play for. I know the Niners aren't mathematically dead yet in the division, but I think
They
their
pretty
season
much are,
is shot.
though.
I think that yeah. No, you're right. I think their season is pretty much all but shot. But give me the Dolphins in this one. It's a home game for the Dolphins. 1 point favorite. I still think the line's a little too low, but I'll take the Dolphins 27-20. Next game.
The actual Cowboys versus the Buccaneers.
All right, we got 2 games to go. 8 minutes left in the show. So Mayfield goes back to his home state. The Cowboys aren't mathematically eliminated yet. JT, do the Cowboys shock the Bucs and keep their NFC wildcard hopes alive?
Hell no. Baker Mayfield is on a heater. You saw what he did to the Chargers defense last week. He's going to do it to the Cowboys defense. Game's going to get out of hand fast. Buccaneers easily.
All right, JJ. And JJ, who do you have? Bucks or Cowboys? Bucks are 4-point road phase, and do you like that line?
So,
I know you're not about to do it.
when you
Pick the
have these
Cowboys.
games, when you have these games, like I'm just playing with y'all. I'm going with Tampa Bay on this one. I can play that on a little bit.
I was really about to walk off the set, though.
Go ahead, JJ.
I teed that up a little nice because I was like, you know what? Let me play around with them a little bit. And I always have to start it with so. Because
As
I
soon as
said
they
so.
say that so, you know what's going to happen.
I saw James' face. He was just like, oh gosh, I know he's not.
Man, I fell back in my seat. I'm already laughing,
up.
bro. You know how I react. I'm already back here on this couch rolling. I'm like, man, he about to do it. And he got to adjusting that camera. I said, man, he finna pick the Cowboys, man. You got us on that one, JJ, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys on that.
That was
one.
a good play action fake.
Trying my best, I'm trying to do my thing, see what I can do with that. But we'll see. But I'm gonna go with the Bucks on this one, just because I think that they are. I do think they know the division. They have it's pretty much theirs to lose, and I think at the end of the day, they're going to do better than the Cowboys. I just think it's just nothing to do with the Cowboys being as bad as they are. It's just what is it about as bad as they are? They just don't have their guys and like their main guy.
All right. Well, yeah. Considering the slaughtering that Mayfield put on the Chargers, who are a much better team than Dallas, give me the Buccaneers. Bucks just might win by 3 scores on this one. They're 8-6, number one in the NFC South, and they're looking to win their what will be their probably fourth straight division title. But yeah, go ahead and give me the Buccaneers in this one in a runaway. It might be close-ish by halftime, but no, I'm going to take the Buccaneers 31-20, and the Cowboys' 20th point will come in garbage time. Final game. Packers are 14-point home favorites against the Saints. So is this going to be a repeat of what they did at Seattle last week for Green Bay? JT, what do you think, man?
I think so. I think Green Bay is starting to get on a little bit of a roll. Going into the playoffs, kind of similar to what they did last year. They got hot. They almost made it to the NFC Championship game. Just came a little bit short against San Francisco. So I think Green Bay's, playing very well right now, and the Saints, they're down to their third string quarterback, and there's a lot of question marks for this team. They're probably going to get a new head coach as well in the offseason. So I'll take Green Bay.
And JJ, who do you got? And do you like
So
that line?
So inversely compared to the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots, I do like this line more than I like that one for the simple fact of it's the line that nobody's really paying attention to because the Bills are the most dominant team compared to all these teams in the whole mix of these double-digit
Right.
spreads. So when you focus on that one, the other one gets ignored. And I think I like this whole little game that they're playing, and I would take the Packers to cover because I do think the Packers are a good team.
Mm-hmm.
They were a couple plays away. They can look at their games against the Detroit Lions and see like what we had chances where the game could have turned in our favor. They're not a bad team. They're actually a good team. A team I was high on coming into the season. I think they're doing. I mean, they've had some. It hasn't always looked pretty, but they're winning, and I think they'll win this one. And I'll take them to cover.
All right. Yeah, give me the Packers in this one. Packers looking good just like they did late last season. And the Saints are just the Saints. Great effort last week. I love the gamble. They went for the 2 in the win against the Commanders. They scored with no time remaining and then went for 2 and they just barely missed it. I mean, I get it. Your season's pretty much shot. You're just kind of playing ball at that point. But I don't see Spencer Rattler or Jake Haener, however you say his name. I don't see him any of them giving the Green Bay Packers fits. So I'm going to take the Packers in this one. The Packers keep it rolling. I'm actually going to say, I think Bacon said 34-17. I'm going to say Packers 34-10. And with that being said, that is the end of the show. Thank everybody for tuning in. Shout out to Wyatt, Nine Tails, and Bacon Grizz in the comments. And we will see you all for the Gauntlet on Friday.
Please enjoy this picture of Jalen Hurts dressed up like Denzel from the training day.
That's what y'all wanted to see?
How did we open the show? My thoughts exactly.
We love Jalen. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Bye, you